There's a feature inside of Bridge CS5 called the Smart Collection. So basically think of it this way. Collections, which you'll find inside of Bridge in this collections panel, it's like an album. You could take photos from all over your hard drive. You could click create new collection. I'll just call it test. And I could put photos in here. It doesn't copy them, doesn't move them, doesn't do anything. It just makes a little album that references those photos. So now I'd have a one-click way to get to if this were, a cruise, if it were a vacation, Christmas 2009, whatever. I'd have a one-click way to get to them. Okay, so let's delete that for now. And let's go back to the smart collection that I have here. Basically, what a smart collection is it's a smart collection. No, it's a collection that monitors itself. It keeps track of itself based on criteria you give it. So in this example, I created a collection that of any image that has the name HDR in the title, because anytime I create an HDR photo, I make sure I put the letters HDR into the title, and that gives me a quick way to search for them later and to do something like this, which is to create a smart collection. All right, so here's how it works. Click on your little, it's the collection icon with a gear on it. I guess the gear means it's smart. And when you click on that, you tell it, where do you want to look? Do you want to look in the desktop? Do you want to look in a very specific folder on the entire hard drive, wherever it is? So we'll just keep it to the desktop. Criteria. This is where it gets interesting, because I can pick any criteria that I want here, where file name contains HDR is what I used here. You can do where date created or date modified. It's a car, Miata, but it's fine. Oh gosh, that was bad. But you could do, date modified, file size, altitude, exposure, flash, focal length, ISO, serial number, all kinds of things inside of here. All right. The cool thing about it is you can do more than one. Just click that little plus. I could say where file name contains HDR and where the date created is equals or is not less than or greater than or something like that. And I put a certain date inside here. So let's get rid of that. We're just going to keep HDR. So you get the idea. You get a criteria here. And I can say match if any, or if all the criteria are met, tell it to look in subfolders, all this stuff. All right, and when you click save, I'm not going to do it because it takes a few minutes to go through and index everything and look through all your folders. But when you click save, it builds exactly what you see here, because that's what I created. If I double click on it, and if I come over here, just right click, just click on there. There, if you go to edit, it brings the thing up. So you can see that, I did file name contains HDR. And as you scroll through this is anything, folder, any file name that contains HDR inside of it shows up in the smart collection. It's not a copy of the photo. It hasn't moved the location of my photos or anything like that. It's just showing me photos that live on my desktop that have HDR in it. What's really cool about it is that now it'll always monitor whatever folder I told it. And if a photo pops in there with the letters HDR, so I'm going to go onto my desktop right now. You won't see this in the video here because I'm just kind of off to the side of the video. I'm just going to change the name of a file to have HDR in it. Okay. So let's look through, look down here at the bottom, nothing there, right? Well, if I just click on the smart collection again, it's going to refresh itself. I'll come down here, and now you can see, of course, it's not an HDR. It's an HDR portrait of a couple in a park now. It's not an HDR, but I just renamed something to have HDR in the title, and now it automatically populated it. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to change anything. It's automatically always monitoring your hard drive for that, and it works in the opposite way, too. Now, if I go back over to my desktop, and I change the name back to something else, right? And then we come back over to Bridge, you're going to see it disappear. Okay, so it's always looking at wherever you told it to look. It's looking for whatever criteria you gave, and it's building that collection or that album based on that criteria. So some pretty cool things you can do inside of there when it comes to managing your photos and just getting your photos to a place where they're very quick to access. If you don't want to go through all these folders, but you know that somebody's always requesting an HDR photo, or just look through the list here. There's a ton of different things. You wanted to. Somebody's always requesting a photo height or width contained equals something like that, a certain size of a photo. Anything that you're finding that you're needing to search for a lot really makes a great idea to come in here and create a smart collection from it. All right. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed. My name is Matt Klaskowski, and I'll talk to you again soon.